Hi everybody, I am finally happy to present what it is that I did in order to get me to finally pass the California bar exam. I did some really different things this time than the last time, and I thought I would share those with you in the hopes that it can help y'all out in the future. I took the California bar 3 times before I finally passed it, and one reason why I think it's important to listen to somebody who's taken the California bar more than one time is because it's easier to see that the changes that you made each time you took the bar actually improved your score. So you can say, hey, this works, or this doesn't work, because you know once you've failed. Because you've gotten your scores. The people who pass the first time, bully for them, I think it's great, but I don't think they're the best resources to go to. I don't think they have quite a crisp understanding of what exactly it took to get them to pass the California bar. I liken this to when you're first starting law school. The first year law students, they want to find the A students. Oh, get me to the A students because then we can talk and then somehow miraculously all be an A student. Well, the thing is that the A students, they're basically people who just guessed right. Everybody goes into law school completely confused. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They're all trying their hardest. They're all doing what they think is probably the right thing, and that's just the way the bell curve works. Some people guessed right, and some people don't. And the people who got A's from the beginning, they're not the best people to learn from. The people who got worse grades at the beginning and then made adjustments and saw improvements and then got A's, those are the people you want to talk to when you're in law school. So that's why I think that probably learning from somebody who's taken the California bar several times is probably a better way to learn. Okay, let's get started. By the way, the third time I took the California bar and finally passed, I worked full-time. I work at a law firm. I do a lot of work. I have great bosses, and they didn't fire me when I failed either time, which is wonderful. But the first 2 times I took the bar, I didn't work. I just studied for the bar, but I wasn't studying the right way. The third time I had to work. I had to do it. I couldn't take the time off. My bosses let me work a little bit less. They didn't expect me to bill fully, but I still billed about 140 to 150 hours per month, the 2 months that I was studying for the bar. So it can be done if you have to work full time, okay? Let's start out with the MBE. Okay. What worked for me, and again, I'm not saying that what worked for me is going to work for you, and I'm not saying that I have the answers. I'm just saying that this is what worked for me, and I hope that it can help you too. So I don't want people to think that I'm bashing on certain entities or whatever. That's not what this is about. It's just to help people. So the MBE is the first thing that I saw improvement on. My first MBE raw score from the first bar I took was a 118. And it's kind of crappy, to be honest. So the only thing I had done for the MBE up until that point was Barbry's MBE, because I, like a whole bunch of students, I just took Barbry's full course because I was told by everybody, by career services, who I love them, but they were like, go with Barbry because Barbry is God, and Barbry is not God for everybody. So that's what I did. And when I remember sitting in the bar for the first time and thinking, holy cow, this is a completely different level of MBE, I felt completely underprepared. I thought the questions were much, much harder in the real bar exam than they are in Barbry. So the second time I took the bar, I ditched Barbry completely, and I took PMBR. That's through Kaplan. And I did their MBE combination course. And what that is 6 days at the very beginning of your bar prep, and it's 3 days at the very end of your bar prep. Now, because I did that actually the second and the third time, because the second time my score improved so much. I got a 138 raw. As a matter of fact, I came very, very close to passing the second time I took the bar exam just based upon my MBEs. My written score hadn't changed at all. But the 20 extra raw points got me 7 points away from passing the bar. And I did that by, again, doing the PMBR combination course. And there's another thing I did. I got this book. It's called, I wrote it down here. It's called Strategies and Tactics for the MBE. There's a 2010 version. The cover is white and red. And what I did, I didn't have time to do all the damn questions in the book. There's just too many. But I did read the introduction of the entire book, the main introduction, and I read the introduction of each subject. Very useful information in there. I went in there with a highlighter and with like a pencil, and I wrote notes and everything. I think I took, I did some questions thereafter and, read the explanation in the back and everything. But those introductions, to those sections are just, they're golden. And as far as doing the additional 33 questions per day, like PMBR says you should do, this homegirl just didn't have time for that, okay? Like, as I said, I was working full time this last time. And even the second time I took the bar, you're doing so much. I don't know how people had time to do 33 questions fully, which means reading in the back and really grasping why you got the questions right or wrong. That's what you have to do if you're studying for the MBE, and I just did not have time for that. So I didn't do the 33 questions per day. I only did what I've already said that I've done and nothing else. So the third time I took the bar, I thought, well, hell, that worked last time. I'm going to do the exact same thing this time and just expect that I'm going to score the same. And throughout testing myself, I was scoring consistently the same, it was a good reassurance on the day of the bar this last time. Okay, on to the PTs. PTs are an absolute bear. I have taken so many different PT courses, and I won't name them, but God almighty, my PT scores sucked so badly. Even the second time I took the bar, I took 2 different PT courses to learn how to do these damn things. And my PT scores were the exact same the second time I took the bar as they were the first time I took the bar. And let me just preface, the first time I took the bar, I did not deserve to pass, okay? I had gone through a whole bunch of personal crap, and I was not invested in a way that people need to be. So I'm not saying it's Barbie's fault. I'm not saying that. I do think they underprepare you for the PTs and for the MBEs. I do think that's true, but I also know that I did not put in all the effort that I needed to put in, and I know that a lot of people have taken Barbie and have passed, even the first time, so that's fine. But the PTs, I was so pissed that I got the same crappy scores really bad. I finally reached out to a friend of mine, and he said, that he had finally figured out a good way to approach the PTs the same every time, and I'm going to share that with you. So he said that, I wrote little notes so I wouldn't forget what I'm saying to y'all. He said that what you should do is not spend all this time charting and outlining on your paper before you translate it to your screen, because you just don't have time for that crap. I mean, those 3 hours, they just fly when you're doing them. Anyone who has taken the California bar already and has been unsuccessful, you all know that. That's true. So he says that what you do, you read the task memo. This is one thing that everybody agrees with. Read the task memo. The task memo is going to give you your outline. And you just, you can kind of tell how things are going to work out outline-wise by the task memo. So you do that on your computer if you're a laptop person. And if you're writing, then I guess you have to go ahead and just write out an outline, because how else are you going to do it? But you just go ahead and put it right there on your screen. Then, and those become your issues. So this is just like Iraq. And that's one thing, when he told me that it's just like Iraq, it finally clicked in my head. the way you outline your PT from the task memo, those are your issues and maybe your sub-issues, but those are usually your big issues. Then what's after the issues? Your rule. Well, where are you going to find rules? In the library. So he said he always went to the library first before the file. Always, 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 always. And at least that's structured. Some of the classes I went to, they're like, well, sometimes you do this and sometimes you do that, and blah, like you're supposed to, I mean, how in the hell are you supposed to know? And he said, always go to the library first, and you look at the cases. And there are probably going to be statutes and cases, but your cases are going to mention the important statutes in them, and I'm sure that you've heard that before as well. So look through the cases and find where they start talking about the analysis. That will be with the same language that you start analyzing in your essays, which is by the words here. In this case, in this instance, that's where they actually start talking about the application of the rules, right? So it's important to, once you find that, then you just look above and you say, oh, okay, these are the tests, these are the rules. But I just want to caution you, it's not just finding the tests and rules that are important. If you read the analysis, and if you read, usually it's toward the very end of the case, there's going to be the rationale that basically says, I mean, it will essentially elucidate the fact or two in that case that the whole entire disposition rested on. Now, pay attention to those facts and write yourself a little case brief so you have the test and then you mention the important facts that are in that rationale, because chances are once you go into the file, there's going to be a problem with those facts. Your facts are not going to match, or they're going to match identically. And that is what the bar examiners want to see with the PT. They want to see that you can not only just find the rule, but the rationale, which is so important, always has to do with these crucial facts. And they want to make sure that you understand how your facts compare, because that's going to determine whether the rule in fact applies adequately or not to your particular matter. So that's important. I've heard other people say, oh, the facts aren't important in the cases. That is a bunch of bullshit. It's not true. And they put that in for a reason. And in your practice, you're going to have to use the facts of the cases when you're distinguishing between, especially if you're distinguishing, especially. If it's right on target, maybe not so much in your practice, but you want to do that for the bar exam, okay? So then you go, oh my goodness, I skipped a part. Okay, well maybe not, maybe this is still good. When you find the different rules of the case, you can tell which case is going to apply to which issue, and you plug it in. You start writing yourself a little case brief, just as an IRAC, you know, write the R part, give yourself a case brief. And so basically once you're done with, you have your issues filled out, you have your rules, case briefs filled out underneath each issue, and now all you have to do is go to the file and look for the facts and plug it in and apply and just weave it in. And you want to make sure to compare and contrast your facts and whatnot, and do a good analysis for your rules that you found in the cases. And we'll go over analysis in just a little bit. Okay, but very quickly, one of the coolest things that I learned that you do with a PT is that at the very beginning, before you start, and this is what I forgot, before you even start anything, at the very, very bottom, draft a conclusion, a really, really quick one, like, respectfully submitted, applicant, you know? Of course, if you're drafting it for your supervising attorney, you will want to, you know, prepare it for your supervising attorney's signature. So you'll say, respectfully submitted, and then write the supervising attorney's name down there. And that lets the bar examiner know that you finished. Even if you didn't, even if you were crammed and you're like, oh my God, I only had a couple minutes left and I didn't finish this one paragraph, and they will think at least that you presented them with a full package, okay? So that's important. Okay. Moving on. Let's see. Oh, and if you have a transcript in the file, just that's gonna be where all your good juice is. So, okay. And as I said, we'll talk about application, how to do really good application when we talk about essays, which is next.